Hello, world. You're listening to Business Podcasting Made Easy on the number one global business talk and news network on the internet, IBGR, International Business Growth Radio. Welcome to the TV talk show formula, where you get a roadmap to elevate your authority and expand your visibility with a TV talk show that you're proud of. I'm Donna Kunde, co-founder of the IBGR Network, global radio authority and podcast expert and producer of more than 14,000 podcasts.
And I'm Declan Oceguera, TV producer and international TV talk show host. My TV talk show formula has impacted over 100,000 lives globally and gives business owners and entrepreneurs a simple way to be seen and heard with their own purpose-driven message. And we are your hosts for this 13-week journey. It's almost over. Before we jump in, and we have a lot to say, remember that if you want direct live support from us for your business TV talk show, then contact us today at tvtalkshowformula.info. And this week, we're walking through an easy-to-follow, proven plug-and-play way to get your TV talk show done 13 minutes at a time in just 13 weeks. So follow the formula each week, and welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. This is it. I said I wasn't going to sing anymore.
I know, we can't help it.
No. Week 10 of 13. Week 10 of 13. This is about launching your show with confident hosting, building rapport and connection with your guests on camera. And we're going to dive deeper into unlocking the power of structure, control the chaos, hosting with confidence, and from guest to host. This is on the heels of week 9, where we were on video essentials for a successful launch. If you missed them, you can go back to tvtalkshow.com and listen, or go to our YouTube channel at IBGR Network and watch.
It's more fun that way.
Episode, you get to see all the, well, especially last week.
Exactly.
There was a lot of visuals, but episode 33 was from amateur to pro, must have tools. Episode 34, from one to many, choosing the right platforms. Episode 35, lighting and audio 101. And episode 36, center stage, achieving perfect alignment. You can see how good we do all of our videos. So go check them out at IBGR Network YouTube channel or tvtalkshowformula.com if you want the podcast. Today's episode, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, we really do practice what we preach. So I watched the some of these episodes we just posted, and I realized that my camera could be raised even a bit more. And so I made the adjustment. So, you know, we're always learning and doing what we're telling you guys to do.
Well, and it's a process. And when you're dealing with computers, and we have some checklists coming up next week on all these things that you have to do, and there's still, you know, we're still human, we're still dealing with electronics. So yes, we're always making course corrections, just like the GPS does. Diving into today's segment, unlocking the power of structure, we're going to cover the anatomy of a well-organized TV talk show. That makes it season 12, episode 37. And I have a quote from a really cool guy named Declan Oceguera.
He's super cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the quote says, a well-organized TV show is like a symphony, with each segment playing its part to create a harmonious experience. Let me say that again. A well-organized TV talk show is like a symphony, with each segment playing its part to create a harmonious experience. Thanks for that intro, Declan.
Yes, well, you know. Well, I thought I love my quote because you and I both, I'm practicing being confident, see? You and I both, and you more so, have experience playing musical instruments and being in marching bands, symphonies. And it really is like that when you're running your own show, although it feels like it's a symphony of one, right? Plus your guest. But especially in the beginning, you're doing all the things, but there's so many things, and each is like a note in the music. You know, when it's all working, you end up with something beautiful. So
I just got a visual of the original Mary Poppins, where the guy's doing the one-man band and he's playing the bass drum, and he's got his knees going, and you know, it's kind of what it feels like
Mary
sometimes.
Poppins. Yes, exactly. It is like that.
Yeah, orchestrated all into one. And this is important to become a person worth watching, because you want to have a clear roadmap for the flow of your show so your guests and viewers know what to expect. You'll hear us all the time, starting with me laughing, and then the welcome, and then I'm Donna Kunde, and I'm Declan Oceguera, and this is your 13-week roadmap. So we start with a quote. You know what's coming, you know what to expect, and it should give you some kind of comfort as a listener, and as being behind the camera, knowing what's coming next, especially if you're going to be interviewing somebody. If they know what's coming next, I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because I guess there's three people who want to know what's coming next. You, the host, if you are just trying to figure it out as you go, or making it up as you go,
wing.
We call winging it, yes. That's no bueno, because it might work in an episode, but it's not going to provide an expectation for the guests. We'll get to the guests, but for the audience, I guess they're your guests too, right? But your audience is they're going to pay attention more when they know the parts that are coming, right? And of course, you're going to fill in new stuff in between the structure, but it creates relatability and familiarity. That's a hard word to say. Familiarity, right? And your guests. So being able to tell your guests, this is what happens first, second, third, fourth, gives them some structure. And so they're not just like, being nervous and not knowing what to do. So there's lots of reasons why you want to have this structure.
And what exactly do we want our listeners to know about this?
Yeah, so you want to break your show into specific segments. You can almost think of it like a wheel, right? Or a pie, and you have slices of the pie. In TV, actually, they call this a time wheel. And so segment one, and then you might have a station break and a news break, and then a commercial break, segment two, etc. Right, following around, filling up your pie. So you're going to do something just like that, because you are creating your own TV talk show. So you're going to have segments, and you want to know what comes first, second, third, fourth, etc., and how much time that you are allowing or allocating to each of those segments, right? And these are your decisions. So you're going to make all of this up, and we're going to give you some ideas. So this helps you to know, as the host and the producer, okay, I have 10 minutes for the interview, and then I have 10 minutes for part two of the interview, and then then we have 5 minutes to wrap the show up, as an example, right? You're going to make this up yourself, but knowing that lets you know when you're on time and off time. You guys can't see behind the scenes, but Donna and I are timing ourselves.
Yeah.
And if we're looking away, it's usually because we're looking to see what's our time doing.
Yeah.
And that's how we know to wrap stuff up. And about right now, we need to move on.
Well, we can spend a little bit more time here, because like you say, every episode you create has a show rundown or a script, and it lists the different segments. Do you want to talk a little bit about what some of those different segments?
Yes, that's what I meant by moving on. So we can get to what do you call these things? Yes. So in the beginning, remember, you probably are not going to have advertisers or sponsors. So you don't have to think about those, but we're going to give you an example of where you would insert that when you do, if you choose to monetize your show, which of course we think is a great idea when you get to that point. However, so you can imagine segment one is the show opening, right? And this is like how Donna starts off every episode, and then it comes to me, and we're telling you what you're doing and why you're here, who we are, and that's the show opening. In an interview format, in that opening, the opening would likely conclude with you mentioning your guest, and perhaps reading part of the bio and letting the audience know who the guest is, right? And then your guest comes on, and so we're going to call this segment two, and you're having your interview. For the sake of this example, let's imagine you're going to do 2 parts of your interview. So this would be your interview part 1. So let's say you've given 10 minutes to that. Here, after that, you might have a break. It could be an ad for a sponsor or an advertiser, or maybe you run your own little graphic. Maybe there's an event you have coming up, or a book that you're launching, or your podcast that you're launching, or whatever it is. you could promote yourself. You're your own advertiser in the beginning. And then you come back and you have interview part 2, right? So maybe there's a second part to the conversation, a different focus of that part of your conversation. That's what I like to do in my interviews, is something totally different than just the question and answer. And then let's say that you're going to close the show after your second interview segment. And so you would have a segment called your show close, right? And then you're done. And then you do your closing graphics or music if you're going to use that. And so that's just an example, and that's a good format for a new show to play with.
Yeah, I love that. And because we break ours down very similar in the podcast world, but it is structured. You'll always know that there is some kind of a quote, and then why is this important? What do you need to know? What do you need to do? Some kind of take action after that one step. And so whether you're doing a podcast or you're doing a TV talk show, it's really important to know where you're going and where you've been. So for everyone involved. And if at any time you want live direct support from us to help with your segmenting, your roadmap, you can contact us at tvtalkshowformula.info. Happy to help.
Yes.
As always happy to help. We got about a minute and a half. What do we want our listeners to do?
Yeah, so it's time for you to decide how you want to segment your show. Yeah, because it's almost time for you to go live. We're getting there. So keep in mind, earlier in a previous episode, we had you decide how long you want your show to run, your show runtime. So let's just say you chose 30 minutes, right? So then you have a 30-minute segment pie, right? So you're going to break that into maybe 3 10-minute segments, just as an example. What do you want to happen in those segments? You just got to be clear so you know how to keep yourself on track. So that's what you need to do now, because you're going to be using this in about 10 seconds.
Yeah. So do that. Create your first show rundown. Write it out. We script ours. We have it in front of us. We can see what's coming next, the different next in the different segments. It is that important. No matter how long you've been behind a microphone, how many interviews you've done, it is that important to take the time now. Any final thoughts, Declan?
No, just do it. And it doesn't have to be a
just do it. That's perfect.
Because you're not going to know that you're out of time. Like, and now we know that we're out of time and it's time for us to move on. So
yeah, this is ending episode 37, Unlocking the Power of Structure, Anatomy of a Well-Organized TV Talk Show with Donna, Kunde, and Declan Oceguera. Thanks for listening. We'll be back.